Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Adams Rite number 4431-10S-05-01-IB sliding door flush lock set with exterior cylinder. And let's go over it now. This is a typical and common lock that you're going to find on generally a residential application, but not exclusively. You'll also see these on ICU doors as well, in a hospital, in a triage area, in an ER room area. You'll see Adams Rite style hook bolts in those instances. The 4431 and then all the part numbers after it really infer what the lock is. And we're going to go over all of the parts. First of all, you've got the interior escutcheon. The 4430 series means that the escutcheons are plastic. Okay. Adams Rite also has a line of die-cast trim that are meaning if you have a sliding door lock set and your trim is die-cast or it's metal, it's not plastic, it's not this series. Reach out to us and we'll help you find the other series that it is. If you have plastic trim, this is what it is. So you've got your interior trim, and the fact that this is a keyed function is going to give you, well, it doesn't really matter what it's going to give you, but the back of your trim will be a little bit different because it will have this pin that will communicate with the cylinder, the back side of the cylinder as well. So you've got this rotating, or pardon me, this vertical turn knob that's here. Then you've got your exterior cylinder, and the fact that it's a 4431 means that it is a keyed version. You get a couple of original, you'll get a couple of look-alike Schlage style key blanks. It's in a 5-pin Schlage C keyway. You will then get the lock body as well. That hook bolt that's there. You'll then get all the fasteners you need. There's really only a total of 4. 2 to hold the trim through the door to the exterior. Bolt, screw that through. And then, of course, the 2 small screws to hold the lock onto the edge of the door. Now, this description is a fairly generic description, meaning that there would be lots of locks that would look specifically, generally like this. A couple of escutcheon trims, a lock body, a couple of keys, and some screws. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. It's very likely that your approach to needing a replacement sliding door lock is one from approaching it as a replacement installation. You have one that's broken, something is broken on it, or something is broken and you are replacing everything, or as an aside, you need help on determining a piece only, one of the parts only of the total lock, and want to buy only that part. And quite frankly, if what you have is a broken single piece, don't buy a whole new lock. There's just no sense in that. When only one piece can be purchased, if that is the case, reach out to us. We'll help you determine what you need for that. Now, back to this lock. If you're approaching it from a replacement sort of application or from a new installation, it's really the same. What must be done is the part number must be derived. The part number has to be built. The actual part number that you use is dependent on some factors. Now, let's go into what those factors are. There is a link below this video to a document called, cut sheet, installation instructions, technical drawing, things of that nature. And there are images below this. There are links below this video that will show you those items. The first one, with the symbol, with the link that looks like a compass, a drafting compass, I should say, is really the great place to start for this. It is a document that shows you everything, and I'm looking at the other links to see if we can exclude them. There is a link there that is the square, or the triangle, I should say, with the mechanical pencil. That's a good link to to look at. And that's a parts drawing, and let's just focus on that for a minute. That will give you the constituent part numbers from this. So that's, if you're this far in the video, that's how you come up with those part numbers. When you see an XX in the part number, that doesn't mean that's the part number. That means that that's a variable. And it's generally, for that piece, it's the variable is inserted for the door thickness. But those are the other parts that is needed there. There's also a link to the manufacturer's product catalog. Now, the one that's most important is that link to the cut sheet. On page 2 of that, in the lower left-hand corner, is the matrix by which you determine a part number. And let's go through that now. There are, in the 4430 series, there are 3 functions. There's dummy, there's non-keyed on the outside, meaning there's no cylinder, and then there's cylinder. So you have to decide what you're doing. Dummies are fairly uncommon, but if you have, let's say it's Florida or Arizona or California, you have a lanai, and you've got sliding doors. You might have a 12-foot opening. 3-foot fixed, 2 3-foot sliding. One door is going to have, for sure, the lock body in it. The other door could be a dummy. Okay. Dummies don't get used much at all, so it's unlikely that you're needing a dummy. But if you do, you can see how the part number is created. In the example of the 4431, or this lock, I should say, with a key cylinder, it's a 4431. You got that part of it so far. Now, next part of the part number, the lock face. If it's a dummy, you would have no lock, so it would be -00. You're either going to have an 09 or an 09S or a 10 or a 10S. This lock, as you already know, is a 10S. That means that the corner of the lock is square. If this was radiused or round, it would be an 09. The fact that it is an S means that the face is stainless steel. If it wasn't an S, you would have just a zinc sort of piece of material that's there. Okay? That's the next thing that you have to determine. If you're replacing an existing, literally look at the edge of the door. Is it square or is it radiused? Is it 10 or is it 9? If finish doesn't matter, go with the S. There's no, stainless, a lot of people like that because it appears to be more corrosion resistant, and that is certainly the case. But otherwise, the S version is atypical. It's not normally ordered. But there's no problem with ordering it. It won't confuse anything. The next crucial thing to know is the door thickness. So clients will call and they'll say, yeah, it's about 1.5 inches. Well, the fact of the matter is you have to know exactly the thickness because, well, about 1.5 inches could mean, well, it's actually 1.1 inches. So you have to measure the door thickness because the lock that is sent, as it relates to the length of the pin and tailpiece on the inside trim, which is where the XX comes into in the parts drawing, further defined and correctly allow a derivative part number to be accomplished. So you must measure the actual door thickness, insert those 2 numbers. In my experience, the 00 is by far the most common. The 05, which is what this lock is for 1 3/8 to 1 5/8 thickness, is the second most common. And then atypical certainly is the 08, where you've got an exceptionally thick door. The last part of the part number, 01, is what you're going to want if you have a single 4431, and indeed that's the case here. If you ordered 2 of them and you wanted them to be keyed alike, you've got sliding glass doors here and sliding glass doors here in that same lanai situation. You want them the same key, order the -02. The factory will send out both locks with the same key. That's probably what you would want. If you were building a giant condo building and for some reason you wanted them all keyed alike, you could order a KA50 if you're ordering them in multiples of 50, I suppose. But 01 is the most common, is what you're going to be contending with there. Now, if you have a dummy function, you could only obviously order the -00 without cylinder because a dummy is literally just the 2 plates attached to the face of the door. Now, page 1 of this link to the product brochure gives all of the information regarding the lock. Page 2 gives you the dimensional properties of the lock as well. So if you're doing a replacement, page 1 is probably not important to you because you're already sure that you're replacing your existing, and the 4430 series is a match. If you're unsure, you might want to dig deeper and read that first page. Read the fact that these are plastic. Read the references to the backset information that's given there. The function, the inside operation, the outside operation. Okay, minimum clear depth of the backset plus 9/16. That means how much room you're going to have in the body of the door, the style of the door to accommodate the body. And then finally, look at the dimensional properties that are there for the cutouts in the face of the door. And if your dimensions are all compliant with the drawing, then you are sure you've eliminated all the guesswork that what you have is the proper sort of lock. Now, it is admittedly for some clients tedious to have to go through all this work. I understand. I got that. Call us. That's why we're here. However, we're going to ask those questions because we can't derive. But if you're standing at the door with a tape measure, we're in good shape. Then you just call us and we enter the order for you. However, I personally appreciate Adam's Rite approach with that matrix because it is prevalent across their entire product line, whether it's sliding door locks, swinging door locks, electric strikes, exit devices, and all of their product line. You can, by answering those simple questions, derive at the right part number. I'm partial to Adam's Rite because of that, but not only because of that, because of their excellent customer service and technical support, reliable, predictable shipping lead times, and the fact that they do the segments of hardware that they do, electric strikes, exit devices, sliding door locks, aluminum storefront hardware, and they do that very well. They focus on that stuff. And it's very good economical hardware that is ubiquitous. You'll see it. You will probably unknowingly encounter Adam's Rite hardware on a daily basis, is the bottom line. If you have any questions on the Adam's Rite 4431-10S-05-01-IB, and by the way, the IB just means individually boxed. One will come in one box. Or any other Adam's Rite product, of which you can review the full product catalog from the link below this video, to not only all the Adam's Rite products that we sell, a link to the product catalog, but more helpfully at times, a link to the parts manual. Please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much.